Must in-laws be outlaws? Take 2.
Hi there.
Welcome to
Must
In-laws
be
Outlaws.
We really welcome you to the show. We've gotten a lot of wonderful feedback so far, and we welcome it. So feel free at any point to either call in, because there'll be a number on at the end, or email us, whatever. Today's show starts, as all our shows start,
With a joke.
With a joke. Okay, I'm going to ask a riddle of Kathy. What's the difference between an in-law and an outlaw?
I don't know. What's the difference?
Outlaws are wanted.
Oh, that's terrible.
I know.
That's exactly why we're doing the podcast. I'm the daughter-in-law, she's the mother-in-law, and we're breaking the stereotypes that outlaws are the only wanted people in the sphere of this joke, at least.
Well, the interesting thing is we should tell them where we are and why this is not the set that we normally are at.
It's true. So what's on my mind is that we're on a cruise currently, and we have all of the family gathered together to celebrate your 63rd wedding anniversary. 63 years, right?
You know, when we say it, it sounds very daunting. It does.
That's amazing. I think we should give you a round of applause.
Oh, thank you.
63 years marriage. That's pretty impressive.
I think you have to give my husband a round of applause.
Yay, David. Snaps and claps for David.
But the exciting and wonderful part is that all our children and all our grandchildren and even my sister are here with us on this week-long cruise in the Caribbean. And everybody has expectations, and hopefully we try to manage everybody's expectations.
And wait, I just want to say, as Taylor Swift would say, we're lucky number 13. There are 13 of us on this cruise.
That's exactly right.
So that leads us to our topic, which is, how do you remain an individual in the middle of a large group? How do you claim your individuality? And
as we all know, that when a family gets together, there's always stress. Always. People always joke about how Christmas could be the most stressful time for some families. How do you manage this beforehand so that when you are together, it works?
How do you do it? You're the matriarch. What should we be doing? What's your sage wisdom?
Well, part of it is that you try to determine what everybody's expectations are. What do you want to get out of this cruise? If somebody says to you, well, all I wanted is a vacation, go by yourself, or let us know in advance, and we will create space that you can be by yourself. For example, before you came on this cruise, I know we were all excited. But what were you hoping would develop?
My expectation was 100% to be with family. And we have people from Spain, we have people in from all corners of the United States, and I really just wanted to have all the kids together, the younger generation, the cousins, and just to really connect with them. I don't get to see everybody that often, and it was really important to me to carve out individual presents for the kids.
Do you think we have succeeded?
Yeah, this is the last day of the cruise, by the way, so I feel that we have exceeded expectations. For me, I definitely had so much family.
Bravo.
Yeah, I had so much family time. I really felt like I got to hang out with everyone individually and collectively.
And I agree. And my expectations, I know, were not quite the same as Kathy's. I mean, my expectation was I wanted to be surrounded by the people I love and hopefully who love me. And I didn't care if they went off by themselves. Our only one expectation is that everybody joins for dinner. Of course, we were together almost every day, all day, but it worked. It worked so far. I think everybody had a good time. One of our grandsons said to me, Gabriel said to me, yeah, this has been great. He said, except. I went, uh-oh. He said, I didn't see any dolphins. So
that's not a bad exception. Yeah.
No, not a bad exception. But what should anyone do prior to a family gathering to avoid the hassles and the stress because, as we all know, there are always hassles and stress.
Well, I think that specifically to maintain my individuality amongst a group of 13 where people have needs and wants, and it's a struggle. I've always really struggled with that because I want to help out and I want to be helpful. So sometimes I lose myself in the doing of the cruise. So my intention this cruise was to be more present and just to feel what I need and then to express that if it, does differs from the group, and how that kind of actually was in practice. For example, the first couple of nights of the cruise, I stayed up late, which was unusual for me. I'm in bed by like 9:30. My phone tells me I should be in bed by 9:30, and I stayed up late. So I was stretching myself a little bit to be with family. And by the third night, I was exhausted. Like I wasn't working out. I'd lost all of my routine, and I realized that while it was fun to be with the family, I had to carve out some time for me. So the third night, I went to bed early. I got lots of sleep, and I felt so much better. I wasn't exhausted. So
And I think it's important, number one, to know what our own needs are.
yes.
We don't always know. So think about when you're getting together, if you're going home for the holidays and you know that your brother who you haven't seen in 40 years is going to be there and you're angry at him deep down.
This is not speaking from experience.
No, thankfully not.
Or is it?
But how? No, not at all. Think about what your needs are. What do you expect from him? And what do you expect from yourself? Much harder to be demanding of your own needs, which is a very difficult thing.
Yeah, and I would just like reposition that word demanding into like acknowledgement, where I think that awareness is key here. So I think that some people have no trouble speaking up for themselves and doing what serves them best. And I think it's good to make compromises sometimes where you are able to, if everybody wants to do one thing and that might not be the thing you want to do, I think sometimes you have to weigh the option of being, oh, okay, like it's fun to do this one thing. Like we ended up going on a group trip to the beach, and it wasn't the best beach, but we were all together, so we like made the best of it. So that's the thing, like learning to make the best of a situation, I think is really key.
I agree with you.
So one of the mantras I have in my head almost every day is life is happening for me. So in any situation, even the not good situations, life is happening for me. So how I look at that is like whatever comes my way, in general, I try and make sure that like whatever the part I play in it is, I can find the lesson. And it doesn't have to be necessarily all positive things. It can be negative things. But where's the lesson for me?
Okay, I have two comments on what you said. I do agree with you. The first comment is I have a motto as well, and it's very close to yours. My motto is life is not a dress rehearsal. And it's not. Make it count. Make if you can, every minute, but certainly every day. Number one. Number two is how do you say something to someone who's really gotten your dander up? I mean, let's say it can happen. The brother the hypothetical brother that we came up with, who is appearing for the first time, you're really annoyed at, not you, but the brother can be annoyed at him. How do you tell him what you want to tell him without creating this stress? Do you snap at him? No, obviously that's counterproductive.
I mean, I've done that before. But
well,
yeah.
We all have, but
yeah.
Not all of us do learn from our experiences. So if we can help you from what people have written in, from our own past experiences, don't forget, Kathy and I are mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, and we're many years apart. So hearing what she has to say helps me, and I hope hearing what I have to say helps her. So how do you think one should approach a conflict before it develops?
I think it is very subjective to the person and the conflict, and I think that as I'm going to use this term, clean communication. So like if I'm really annoyed and my dander is up, it's not the time to have like a real heart to heart because I don't have the space in my heart to have that conversation. So like if I'm the one who's annoyed at whatever behavior is coming at me, the best thing for me to do is to handle my own annoyance. And that could be go take a walk. It could be to say something. I mean, I like, usually I'm more of like the, if I get really annoyed, I just like lose it, which is not always the best way to handle it. And I own that about myself. Also, like, I notice the signs in my body, so I can notice like I'm not breathing very well, or I feel like my body needs to move, and I will try and listen to that signal and not focus on what's annoying me.
So basically, what you're saying is what we talked about in previous episodes of the podcast. Don't act, don't react, act.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you don't react immediately, you get the needed time to calm yourself down, to think about how you should approach your adversary, so to speak.
How do you handle it?
How do I? Well, that's a good question. Okay, I had an experience today. One of my grandsons, who is 11, uh, was being critical of me. We had an issue with the chef, and he said, "Why were you arguing with him?" And I said, "I wasn't arguing with him. Your voice sounded like you were arguing." I said, "That's interesting that you felt that way because the chef did not." The chef was very grateful. He kept saying to me, more people should do this. He said, "Otherwise I have no feedback and I don't know." So the difference was that my grandson was saying that I was argumentative, basically. And my first reaction to him was, "Oh, yeah." I didn't say that, but that's how I felt. And then I stopped myself. I prevented myself from talking a little further. I thought about it and I said, "What about my voice was argumentative?" He said, "Your tone." I said, "But you didn't hear my words." I said, "So you're telling me that the tone could make a difference?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Thank you." I said, "I'm going to try to be more aware of it." So I did two things there. Believe me, I would not have done it 30 years ago. But I wouldn't have had grandchildren 30 years ago either. The first thing I did was I stopped myself from reacting because I really wanted to react. I kept turning to you. I kept saying, "Kathy, do you think my voice is argumentative?" And the second thing I did was I thought about it. And then I wanted to give him the credit for approaching me. He could have said nothing and just harbored ill feelings. So in the end, it turned out really well. Maybe it would not have years ago. Maybe it would not have.
Yeah, I think the response is really tricky. And then let's just say you didn't respond well initially. I do think that repair is really key where you have a situation where you're annoyed and maybe you don't have the patience to pause and take a breath because that is really hard sometimes. I think then coming back and apologizing is always really important. So like I have like our little your grandson who's a one of the 4 year olds. He got really upset the other day. I was watching him and he got really, really upset. And he was very tired. Sometimes when you're overtired, your emotions are a lot closer to the surface. And I am not sure what he was upset about. So I thought that maybe I was wearing a ship lanyard. And I thought maybe it scratched him. So you know what I just said? I said, "Kai, I'm really sorry. Like I can tell you're really upset, and something that happened. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry that you're upset. I'm sorry that I did something that made you upset." And you know what? It did it. He stopped crying. He just was like, "Okay, I'm good," and he was done.
That little children are just miniatures of big adults. And if we could remember that, the interesting thing is we would switch our gears just enough so that we could. I watched something yesterday. This little 4-year-old, he wanted only to eat potato chips. "I only want my potato chips." and his father was trying to feed him fish. I don't want fish. I don't want fish. No, and he was making faces, and everybody was trying to get him to eat the fish because they wanted to have protein. So one of his aunts, not Kathy, another aunt, um, first started heavy-handedly. She started saying, if you don't eat the fish, you don't get any potato chips and you don't get any ice cream. And he said, I don't want the fish. And then she realized she was getting nowhere. Were you there when she did
No,
it?
but I heard the story. Smart. Distraction.
It was amazing. She just switched gears, not totally, just enough so everything went into sync. And she said, you know what fish does? Fish gives you muscles. Fish makes you strong. And his eyes opened up wide. And he looked at her, he was, a little skeptically, he wasn't sure. She said, look, I eat fish, and she made a muscle. And he looked at, she said, feel my muscle. And he felt the muscle. And she said, watch, you're going to eat the fish, and little by little, right before your eyes, you're going to get muscles. And he ate the fish. He ate a whole piece of fish. Happy, ate his potato chips, got ice cream. That's how it works. That's on a minuscule scale, how to prevent a small altercation from blowing up into a big one.
Yeah, I agree. And I think those moments of almost like epiphany where you can channel in a higher power of distraction or a clever, tool to help deflect the annoyance it's sometimes is the best solution, especially for kids. And I think you're right. Like if we could all look at the people around us as we treat the 4-year-olds, right? So like if we all had the same care and acceptance and understanding that we extend to the 4-year-olds, because I just said like he was hungry, he was tired, his emotions were high on his sleeve. Like that's pretty much all of us all the time. Like if we could just extend that compassion to everybody else,
I mean,
that'd be so
with
amazing.
a little kid, it's simplistic.
Yeah.
And you can identify with a big person, an adult. It's a little more subtle. You know, you said something on one of the previous podcasts, and you mentioned it again today. You said something about your own identity. And what you're saying, I think, is applicable to every single one of us. Some more, some less. I think we don't want our identity to be dissolved into somebody else's. We want to be compliant, we want to be agreeable, but we want to maintain who we are. And I think if we recognize that, if we look at even a small child all the way up to a much older person, we all don't want to lose our identity. I think that is a key element, and I'm not sure that we recognized it the first time you mentioned it, but being all together now, it becomes so apparent,
Yeah.
By the way,
I'm gonna give that some thought.
I have to talk about why we're dressed the way we're dressed.
Oh, right.
Right. If you have noticed, Kathy and I are wearing the T-shirts. The T-shirts have the Tree of Life, as you see. On the back, at the end of the podcast, we'll turn around, but I will tell you, for those of you who are listening and not viewing, the back of it has a big Tree of Life, and around the Tree of Life are the names of every one of us that's on this ship, including the little guys as well. And my husband David makes up these shirts every single time we take a trip together. And one of these days we're going to, each one of us, wear a ship from a different cruise or a different trip. But we always take 1 or 2 photos of all of us, the whole family, from the smallest ones to the oldest ones, in the T-shirt. So that's why Kathy and I are wearing it.
Yes, and you probably can't tell, but behind us is the ocean where we're just coming back into port. But it's so pretty. Oh, it's such
Tomorrow
a nice
morning.
Yeah, it's such a nice day. But just to wrap it up, because we have a segment just to wrap up the navigating individuality when you're in a big group. I think we've kind of summed up that it's important to have your own needs met. It's important to use communication around those needs, and then it's also great to take into consideration the steps we talked about on a previous podcast, which is to act, not react, and then just make sure that you're kind of
Right.
in the right headspace, so that you know what's coming your way, and you know that you need to be fed, and just like the 4-year-olds, they get good sleep, they need to be fed, they need to have a lot more kind of understanding of their own needs and be able to express it.
Kathy, you want to tell them if they want to write to us where to reach us?
Yeah, so we have an email. It's mustinlawsbeoutlaws@gmail.com. That's mustinlawsbeoutlaws@gmail.com. So you can write to us to get the last word, which is our last segment. So we're going to just segue into right now. And because we have an audience, I'm going to ask them, what would you like the last word to be, audience? Do you have any questions for us that would be really relevant for us to sum up the last day of the cruise? Do you have any questions for us, audience?
Oh, yes.
You can say it out loud if you have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The audience might not have been paying as close attention as we wanted. Audience, do you have any questions for us?
What is the most important thing in your relationship in such close quarters with the entire family?
Oh, that's very
How
good.
do you handle the differential, of personalities and feelings?
Ooh, that is a great question. The question is, how do you handle being in such close quarters, especially this cruise ship, with so many people? And I can even give an example really quickly. So I don't know if you're not familiar with the cruise ship. The rooms are generally very small. Ours are very small. And we have a family of 3 in one cabin in one room. So last night, for example, my daughter, who's sharing our cabin with us, she wasn't ready to go back to the room because she said it's like a little confining and it feels very claustrophobic sometimes. And she had such big energy. It was one of the last nights of the cruise. We had a dance party and a magic show, and she was just like feeling so uplifted that she didn't want to shrink and go back into the cabin. So I normally, as said before, go to bed at 9:30. This is now like midnight. Maybe it's 11:30. Anyway, it's past my bedtime. And she didn't want to go back to the cabin, but she didn't want to go by herself around the ship. So my husband and I were like, you know what? We will hang out with you. Let's go explore. Let's do some adventures late night because that's what she needed. And I was like, it's fine. It was fun. We ended up having a great time.
Very good example, actually.
We ended up having a great time.
Yeah, you had a great time.
Yeah, we had a great time.
That is usually what happens. You don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. You're tired. You don't want to do it. And then you wind up having a terrific time.
Yeah, we had a great time.
So maybe we should add something to the motto or the mantra, don't act, react. Maybe we should add one more thing, and that would be open-minded. Because when we're closed-minded, we reject all kinds of things. But if we're open-minded, you never know what's going to cross your path, and you never know what you will really, really love doing.
It's true.
Yeah.
I love that. It's a great ending. Be open-minded.
So thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for listening
Again,
and for watching.
One more time, Kathy will repeat where to send any questions, anything you want us to discuss. We're very happy to do it.
So we want to get the last word in, and the last word actually is a question that comes from the audience. So please email us at mustinlawsbeoutlaws@gmail.com. And just quickly before we wrap it up, I was telling people about the last word, soliciting questions, and they thought they were listening to the podcast, and they were so excited because they thought we were going to argue at the very end. Who gets the last word? They thought we were going to argue. So I'm just saying, if you want that to happen, you can also write in what you would like us to argue about, and we could just try it out for one. Anyway, so the email is mustinlawsbeoutlaws@gmail.com. We can't wait to hear from you. Thanks for watching and listening.
Thanks a lot. Bye.